Good morning, it's Shelly with Gilbert Marketplace, and today we're just going to do a quick craft project. And what you're going to need is a laundry basket. You can pick that up at the dollar store. Some twine. You need some burlap, and I would prefer it to be skinnier like this, but I didn't have it, so we're going to use what we have. And then I have some lace. It was just a runner that I'm going to try to use. We're just going to see if this concept works. What I'm going to make is a tree, basically skirt. You know, I looked at those big metal drums and they seemed kind of expensive, and I thought, I think I can do this. So what I did is I took a white laundry basket, I spray painted it with silver, and what we're going to start with is we're going to cut this top proportion off, and just, you know, use a pair of scissors. And let's see here. We're just going to use this so that I can put it through the tree stand. So once I cut this off, and obviously you want to try to get this really even, so it doesn't look sloppy. Not that you'll probably see it because the branches will be in there. So now that we have that off, I think it kind of looks like a tin. That's what we're going to, you know, do. So after I have this silver, I will use some black chalk paint, and Waverly has some wax, and I'm going to mix a little bit of wax with my paint, and I'm just going to highlight it with some black to look like it's metal versus so silvery, because I kind of would like it to look like an old tin bucket. Now you could also follow my other post on how to make it a little rusty, and I may even do that later, but that this is brand new, so we'll just pour a little on here. Woo! And that will make your any color paint you have turn to a wax. So we'll just dip a little in our thing and a little bit of the wax, and this will make it more pliable. So I'm just going to kind of start off by going around the edge here. And this has, like I said, some wax in it. And I'm just using a stiff brush, and I'm just gonna kind of make some random spots. I taught a lot of paint classes in my day, and so painting kind of comes pretty easy to me, but I know it's not easy for everybody. But this is something you just kind of have fun with. There's no right, no wrong. So then I'm going to take my cloth here, and I'm kind of going to rub it on there and kind of smear it. I don't know if you can see this real good. And probably you should maybe work in a little bit smaller sections, just because you do, you know, with the wax, you got a little bit of time, but not a ton, you know what I mean? So especially if it's your first time, you might want to. Now, if it's not moving, you could dip your wax and just kind of come back and move it around a little bit. And I'm just going to apply a little bit more on the edges. And I kind of do this padding technique. Stempling is what what it's called, where you kind of stemple and pat. But this will give it like more of a hammered metal. Honestly, like I said, I use a lot of the supplies that I have, because I know you can buy hammered paint actually, and then you might not have to do any of this. You just spray it on and call it a day, right? You're just going to move it around there so that it kind of gives it an old, you know, it's not real shiny, you know what I mean, kind of look. So we'll just apply a little bit more and just get it to where you like it. And since it's kind of going downward, you might just kind of smear some of that down. even maybe taking my brush. That's why I said, you know, you just gotta play with it and go in a circular motion. So it actually puts like a little bit of a pattern into it. Kind of looks like the metal. Unfortunately, it's hard to, it's such a big item. So you can kind of see how it's like looking like metal right there. Like I said, just kind of play with it a little. I'm gonna do a little bit more on the top here. And you probably won't see the top as much, so you know, you might practice and start on the top because, like I said, your brush, your bristles from your tree obviously is gonna come, you know, down there. So that gives you a little play area to practice, you know, before you get on to the other part. But I'm just gonna do this part so everyone can kind of see what I did here. Okay, so I'm happy with the way that looks. Obviously, we're going to do the same thing on the bottom here because you will see that. Not so much in the crack, only because I'm going to use the burlap to cover and the rope. So we'll do the rope. Now this one, I'm just going to rub along with my black and my wax, because I'm just going to try to be quick here so our video isn't taking forever. I do a lot of these live because I'm not real good with the camera and the settings. I know some of those people can make it advanced and do all kinds of cool stuff. That ain't me, chief. So bear with me, you know. Obviously, when you do it live, you know, it is what it is. There's no fixing it. So you just get it raw, you know, and that's the thing. I literally craft every day. I do a couple projects every day, and you guys actually can follow. I have a Facebook group that's a DIY site, and literally I pretty much post a project that I do every day. I also write for Home Talk, so I do a lot of their DIY tutorials. So I keep really busy with tutorials and DIYs. So if you're bored like me and want to keep busy, you know, you can definitely. So I just wiped that with my brush kind of in there, and you'll see it has some, you know, spots. And if we need a little bit more, we'll just add a little. Whoops. Geez, there we go. So we got that. And then I'm just gonna literally take my brush and my paint, and I'm just gonna go up and down the basket real quick. And I'm just gonna do it like a quick, because obviously metal is just, you know what it is. I mean, there's no rhyme or no reason. There's some that, you know, rusty, some, so this is just kind of supposed to look, like I said, kind of like old metal. If there's some that are darker spots and lighter spots, I think it all works. So we're just going to finish this up real quickly, but you could take, you know, however long you want to do. For the video purpose, I don't want to be on here for too long. Your time's valuable as mine. So that's the thing. Most of my DIYs are super quick, super fast, and inexpensive. I'm working on one right now that, you know, I'm building a fireplace, so you guys will have to come back and check that out. It's super cool for Christmas, but you know, whenever you do something that big, it takes a little bit longer, especially your first one, so that, you know, because you're just kind of going by the seat of your pants. I, you know, just start building and using the materials I have and kind of go along, and however it comes out, it comes out. So that's kind of my DIY style. I usually, like I said, just try to take the materials I have and make projects out of them. A lot of people say, how do you come up with all those ideas? And I said, well, I start by just using the materials that I have, and then I think, gee, what can I make with it out of this, you know? Instead of the other way around where you go buy materials, you know, just look around your house, see what you have, and then, you know, try to brainstorm some different ideas that you could do. we're almost done. Might need a little bit more wax so that it's not coming out so black. Let me just pour a little bit so we don't get black in there. This you can buy at Walmart, that Waverly wax. I really like it a lot. It's super easy, it's inexpensive, but that way you don't have to buy all kinds of waxes. You can just buy that and make any color you want into a wax. So, you know, if you wanted to do something blue or whatever, you could. Okay. So, as you can see, now we got it kind of looking like more like metal. If there's any spots, like I said, you're not gonna see a ton of it because I am gonna cover it up, but it does have some cool texture to it. Give me 1 second so I don't ruin my brush. Okay, sorry about that. I just forgot to get water and I don't want to wreck my brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with burlap. Now, like I said, if we had this size, I just wasn't sure if I love this lace. I'm debating, but what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to go, let's see if I can show you this. We're going to go in one, and then we're going to bypass two, and then go in because it's so close. And we're gonna go, let's see, go back in, next one, and then bypass two. So back up through the next one and then bypass two. So, and we're gonna just keep this folded and keep pulling it along. So there's a little bit of black paint here. It's not dry. Let's give that a second here. So this makes it a little bit more challenging because this isn't the right size. So I gotta basically bend this and then pull this at the same time. And I'm going to make sure, I'm gonna wipe this on the inside just to make sure there's no black globs because I really don't want that on my burlap. Obviously, if you were doing this, you would wait for it to dry. But for video purposes and your time, we'll just move along here. But I'm going to feed this a little bit further through so that this stays. And then we're just kind of like sewing in one, come back out, and then go around. And I'm going to, like I said, you're gonna have to keep this. Okay, so to finish up our tree skirt, I wanted to, unfortunately when someone called, it stopped the video. So we're gonna do part 2 here. And we are going to, I finished doing 2 of the rows of the burlap and then the lace. I will say, I can catch the error already if you see the stripe here and then this burlap. So make sure when you do it, you do them the same. But I'm gonna go with it. Obviously I can take it all out and I may, but for now, I'm going to finish showing you. So what I did is I took my runner and I cut it. And then obviously we went back to doing the same thing, down 2, up 1. And like I said, you want to start in the same place. Also, FYI, you want to start probably where your handles are on the sides so that you don't have ugliness. So those are, you know, like I said, some of the things you learn as you do different crafts. If I was going to do it perfect, I would have started at a little bit different spot, but it's okay. We're gonna go with it. It is what it is, but to make it a little bit better, learn from my mistakes, I would make sure that I start on the side, which I did. It's just off a little. So just kind of, because you're gonna want it, you know, on the edges because those handles stick out a little. So, and then, like I said, we'll just continue feeding these in. Also make sure that you keep with the same pattern. And I just started on the opposite one. So obviously there's a little variation. And because I just sewed it in and out, obviously I can, you know, take it all undone and put it in, but honestly, I don't think it bothers me that much to bother. So We're just gonna cut the end, and then we'll just glue it in the same way we did the first one. We'll just lay it, and if you know with the lace, you don't really notice it, you can just kind of lay it on top. Give it a little glue and press it. Just kind of hold it for a second, and you won't even really like see it. So there's like a little seam. So here's my seam, here's my seam, here's my seam, and here's my seam. So they're just off a little bit, not too much, but that's okay because it's not in the front. So now that we've got that all done, so after you've painted it, now you've run your burlap or your ribbon, you could do them all the same, you could do them different. Like I said, I'm using the materials I have, so I did not have enough burlap to do it all the same, but I like the, kind of gives it a little like shabby chic look. Now, to finish off the bottom, I have this jute. It's really thick rope. Let me see if the package, natural jute, it is a 3-ply, and I picked it up at Hobby Lobby, a big old roll of it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to then again look for my seam so that it kind of looks uniform. And I'm going to start this, and I'm going to go all the way around it. And that way I know how much I need, and then I'll cut it. And give yourself a little extra space. I noticed cutting this 3-ply is kind of challenging, so I try to stick my scissors down. Oh, it's really thick. So I just kind of stick it down in there, and then I cut one of the, plies, and then I do the next so that I can get it in there. So then we're just going to, now, technically, let me tighten that one up a little. You could glue this all the way down, all the way around. I don't think that's necessary. If you want to do that, that's fine, you can, but I'm not going to do that. It's obviously in this lip, it's not going to fall out. No one's going to be handling it. And honestly, then I could reuse this later if I want to without having a bunch of glue on it, because it is a good amount of jute. So I'm just going to set it in there. I'm going to glue the two right there at the edge together so that it won't, fall out. If I tip it, obviously if you bang it around, it's going to. I have an extra piece in here of my ribbon that I had extra, and like I said, just take your little glue, and you can see on the inside there, just kind of pat it down, and that way the inside looks clean, the outside looks clean. Okay, so now we have all that done. We have our jute done. Now, you could take another piece and finish off the top. Let me see. I don't know if that's going to be necessary. Where's my end? Okay, this is an extra piece. Hey, you know what? This probably was from another project. I have a leftover piece. Let's just see here. It kind of came unfrayed a little. Let's twist that back. And I'm thinking we might want to just finish this edge off. There's like a little bit of a bump there. Let me just see if I like that. Yeah, and of course this piece ain't big enough. That's all right. So if I can find the end to it, now we just used it. Heavens my, this is silly. Are you serious? Unbelievable. There we go. Both of these are round at the other end. Here we go. Okay. All right, now that we got that situated, like I said, I'm just going to lay this. I want to see where my seam is on the bottom so that they're in the same spot. And I'm thinking we'll just start it off with a little bit of glue. I'll just glue that down. And again, I'm just going to set it around here a second. Yeah, I think that will give it a nice finished look. I think we'll just add a few drops along the top to hold it on, our rim. I just think it will look more uniform and more finished. So we're just gonna add a little glue. Just kind of give it a second, fold it down. I think this is gonna look super cute. I have a pencil tree, so it's a nice skinny one. And I think it would look super cute in here, and I kind of do it in like a vintage, woodsy kind of look. And so I think this will like work super cute, and it really didn't cost too much. Obviously I have the supplies here, and let's just cut this. Super thick. We'll just use a little more glue right here. Whoops, don't push that hard, you make the basket fold. Okay, so that's my finished edge there. Let's just put a little glue over here where it seems to be pulling. Okay, so this is our tree skirt now, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use the little bit of burlap I have, and I'm going to make, I think, a really cute bow. This is kind of what we have extra, and I'm honestly just going to take it and tie it like we do a shoe, because it's going to be a big floppy bow is what I'm thinking. And I'll probably have to iron that because it's really super curly because it's the end. Let's just straighten these out. And I'm thinking I'm gonna put that big bow right like this. Obviously, so it looks decent, but I'm gonna have to iron it a little here, and then I'm gonna glue it down. Hey, make sure you check out my page. I'm gonna post it on the tree, and so you can see how we actually used it. Again, it's Shelly with Gilbert Marketplace. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.